Ever wondered why we say it's raining cats and dogs when it's pouring outside? Or why we try to break the ice when meeting new people? And have you ever accused someone of shedding crocodile tears? Well, buckle up, word nerds, because we're about to take a wild ride through history, exploring everything from ancient Greek voting practices to the dangerous world of hat making. By the end of this video, you'll never look at these common phrases the same way again. Welcome to World Decoded, and today we're going to uncover the true origins of some of the most popular phrases in the English language. But before we move on, please consider subscribing to our channel, as it really motivates us to bring out more informative and interesting content for you guys. Now, if you're ready to spill the beans on these linguistic mysteries, let's dive right in. Break the ice. To reduce tension or awkwardness in a new encounter. This phrase originates from naval history when ships would get trapped in frozen waters. Icebreaker ships would break through the ice to clear paths for other vessels. The term gradually evolved into a metaphor for easing social tensions. One of the earliest figurative uses appears in Sir Thomas North's 1579 translation of Plutarch's Lives, referring to breaking the ice of his modesty. Raining cats and dogs. Extremely heavy rainfall. While several theories exist, one links to Old English architecture. Animals would often hide in thatched roofs and fall during heavy rains. The phrase appeared in Jonathan Swift's A Description of a City Shower in 1710. Another theory connects it to Norse mythology, where Odin, the god of storms, was depicted with dogs and witches while riding storms with cats. Bite the bullet. To endure a painful or unpleasant situation bravely. This phrase comes from 19th century military practices. Before effective anesthetics, soldiers undergoing battlefield surgeries were given bullets to bite on, helping them cope with pain and preventing them from crying out. The earliest figurative use appears in Rudyard Kipling's 1891 novel The Light That Failed, suggesting it had already become a metaphor for enduring difficult situations. Spill the beans. To reveal a secret or disclose information prematurely. This phrase may have roots in ancient Greek voting practices, where beans were used as ballots. Spilling the beans would prematurely reveal results. However, the modern usage emerged in early 20th century America. One of the earliest recorded uses was in a 1919 edition of the Van Wert Daily Bulletin, suggesting it had already entered common speech by then. Turn a blind eye. To deliberately ignore something, especially an unpleasant situation or illegal activity. While often attributed to Admiral Horatio Nelson ignoring a retreat signal during the 1801 Battle of Copenhagen, the phrase predates this event. It first appeared in 1698 in Thomas Ward's England's Reformation. Nelson's alleged use, whether true or not, popularized the phrase and gave it a heroic connotation, though modern usage often implies willful ignorance. Cut to the chase. To get to the point quickly, leaving out unnecessary details. This phrase comes from early cinema, particularly silent films. Movies often ended with exciting chase scenes. When editors felt a film was becoming too slow or dialogue-heavy, they would be instructed to cut to the chase, literally moving to the chase scene to maintain audience interest. By the 1940s, it had entered general usage as a metaphor for getting to the point. Saving face. Preserving one's dignity, reputation, or honor, especially in public or difficult situations. This concept originates from Chinese culture, where face represents social standing and reputation. The English phrase is a direct translation of the Chinese lu mianzi. It entered English usage in the late 19th century through increased Western Chinese interactions. One early recorded use is in Arthur H. Smith's 1898 book Chinese Characteristics, describing the importance of face in Chinese culture. Steal someone's thunder. To take credit for someone else's idea or achievement, or to preempt someone's attempt to impress. This phrase is attributed to English dramatist John Dennis. In 1704, Dennis invented a thunder sound effect for his play. When the play failed and he later heard his effect used in a production of Macbeth, he allegedly exclaimed, "That is my thunder, by God." The incident was recorded in E. Cobham Brewer's 1880 book, The Reader's Handbook. Mad as a hatter. Completely crazy or insane. This phrase stems from the 18th and 19th century hat-making industry. Hatters used mercury in felt curing processes, leading to mercury poisoning with symptoms including tremors and mental deterioration. The term "mad as a hatter" was in use by the early 19th century. Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, 1865, popularized the phrase with the Mad Hatter character. Burning the midnight oil. Working late into the night, especially when studying. This phrase dates back to the pre-electric era when people used oil lamps for light. Burning oil late into the night implied urgency or dedication to work or study. The earliest known use of the phrase appears in Francis Quarles' 1635 emblem book Emblems, where he writes about consuming the midnight oil, referring to nocturnal study habits. Pulling someone's leg, to joke with or tease someone, often by trying to convince them of something untrue. The exact origin is uncertain, but one theory links it to thieves in 18th century London. They would trip victims using a wire or leg before robbing them. Another theory suggests it comes from executioners pulling victims' legs to ensure death by hanging. The phrase first appeared in print in the mid-19th century, by which time it had taken on its current meaning. Crocodile tears. Insincere display of grief or sadness. This phrase comes from an ancient belief that crocodiles shed tears while eating their prey. The concept appears in many classical texts, including those of Pliny the Elder in the 1st century AD. Shakespeare used it in Othello, 1603. The phrase became popular in English during the 16th century, evolving from a literal description to a metaphor for fake sorrow. Butter someone up, to flatter someone excessively. One theory traces this phrase to an ancient Indian custom of throwing butterballs at statues of gods to seek favor. However, it more likely relates to the smooth, oily nature of butter as a metaphor for flattery. The phrase emerged in American English in the 1930s, with early printed uses appearing in various newspapers and spreading rapidly in popular usage. Barking up the wrong tree. To pursue a mistaken or misguided line of thought or course of action. This phrase comes from raccoon hunting with dogs in America. Sometimes, dogs would bark at trees where they mistakenly thought their prey was hiding. The earliest recorded use was in James Kirk Paulding's Westward Ho in 1832, where it appears as a folksy expression. It quickly entered common usage as a metaphor for misguided efforts. And there you have it, folks. The surprising, sometimes strange, and always fascinating origins of popular phrases we use every day. From the battlefields of the 19th century to the thatched roofs of Old England, from ancient Greek democracy to the early days of cinema, our language is a treasure trove of history and human ingenuity. Next time you tell someone to bite the bullet or accuse them of stealing your thunder, you'll know you're not just speaking in idioms. You're keeping centuries of rich linguistic history alive. So, which of these origin stories surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this linguistic journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating word histories. Until next time, this is me, reminding you to keep exploring the wonderful world of words. Stay curious and keep talking.